Even on sunny days, a visit to my hometown of Seattle seems to begin and end with water. From the attractions along the city's Elliott Bay waterfront to the locks that connect Puget Sound to Lake Washington and Lake Union, the story of Seattle has always been intertwined with the water that surrounds it. Not surprisingly, perhaps the best way to get acquainted with Seattle is from the deck of a ship. Today, thanks to the good folks at Argosy Cruises, we're going to take a tour around Elliott Bay and look around a bit. Elliott Bay is part of the larger Puget Sound, a huge estuary that was named for Lieutenant Peter Puget, the British naval officer who first explored this area in 1792. The Sound stretches from Olympia to the south, all the way into Canada to the north. In all, it covers nearly 2,500 miles of breathtaking coastline. The metropolitan area around Seattle is home to over 3 million people, with nearly 600,000 living in the city itself. One of the most popular spots on the waterfront with locals and visitors alike is the Seattle Aquarium. Built right on the water's edge, the aquarium has been in operation since 1977, but in 2007 it completed a major renovation, and it now ranks among the city's most popular attractions. It's hard to miss the biggest new addition to the aquarium, the Windows on Washington Waters exhibit, right near the entrance. This 120,000-gallon tank has become a showpiece for the entire aquarium, and come feeding time, there's always a crowd around the huge window. Further inside the aquarium, there are numerous smaller tanks and exhibits, showcasing creatures from Puget Sound and beyond. Perhaps the most distinctive exhibit in the entire building is the aquarium's underwater dome, which gives visitors a down-under view of salmon, sturgeon, sharks, and other creatures wet and wonderful. Add a variety of aquatic mammals and birds to the fish on the menu, and it's not surprising that the aquarium draws nearly 750,000 visitors a year. Just down Alaskan Way from the aquarium is our next stop along the waterfront, the Odyssey Maritime Discovery Center. This museum is a family-friendly look at the industries that have come to depend upon the waters of the Pacific. Here, visitors can stroll through the various aspects of the commercial fishing industry and learn how modern technology has allowed for better stewardship of Puget Sound's precious resources. Numerous interactive displays let visitors get a taste of life on the water without the salty air and risk of falling off the boat and being eaten by a narwhal. Back on the water, one of the first things you notice as you get further out into the bay is that the Port of Seattle is still very much in business. In fact, it ranks as the 5th busiest port in all of North America, handling over 1.5 million container units of cargo annually. Cruise ships are equally fond of the port, with nearly 200 cruises carrying over 500,000 passengers leaving Seattle every year. If the cruise around the bay has whetted your appetite for going a little further away from shore, then you'll want to take one of the daily trips to Blake Island State Park, 8 miles from the waterfront. In days gone by, this island was an ancestral campground of the native Suquamish and Duwamish people, and, legend has it, it was the birthplace of Chief Seattle, for whom the city across the bay was named. It is now the home of one of the area's most distinctive attractions, Tillicum Village. This recreation of a Native American longhouse was built for the 1962 World's Fair and has been welcoming visitors ever since. Our 4-hour excursion to Tillicum Village starts inside the longhouse with a delicious meal of Chinook salmon prepared in the native potlatch style. The fish are first filleted, cut open, and then strung across specially made cedar stakes. They are then slow cooked over an open fire of alderwood, which, quite frankly, puts the average backyard barbecue to shame. The result is some of the best salmon you can get anywhere, served up buffet style with fresh vegetables and plenty of other mouth-watering side dishes. After dinner, the lights in the longhouse dim, and visitors are treated to a live show of Native American music and dance. The Suquamish and Duwamish people were just 2 of several tribes of Native Americans that called this part of Washington home for thousands of years prior to the arrival of the English and Americans in the 19th century. Through this lively mix of costume, dance, and storytelling, the performers on the Tillicum Village stage bring this fascinating era in Northwest history alive again, if only for a moment. Except for the occasional trapper in the area, the Native American tribes pretty much had the run of the place until the mid-19th century, when Manifest Destiny finally arrived in Washington. It was November of 1851 when Midwesterner Arthur Denny and a couple dozen settlers arrived here on Alki Point in what is now known as West Seattle. Today, this peninsula is one of the city's prime recreational areas. Granted, it's not exactly Southern California, but this 2.5-mile stretch of shoreline is often crowded with bikers, joggers, skaters, and pretty much anyone else who wants a little break from the bustle of the city across the bay. Numerous shops and restaurants line Alki Avenue. Plus, the views of downtown Seattle from around here are some of the best you'll find anywhere. While Alki Beach is very popular with Seattleites these days, it didn't prove to be the most hospitable place for a settlement. By the spring of 1852, the Denny party was already looking for a new location. The pioneers headed east across Elliott Bay, and a whole new chapter in the rough and tumble history of Seattle was about to begin.